of the United Nations International Day of the Girl Child 2021. It's organized by Emechihu, Favour, Discovery Foundation in commemoration of the United Nations International Day of the Girl Child. I'm so excited for the attendance today, and we are all welcome. And I hope we have a very nice discussion and a very nice meeting today. May I now hand over to the host of the program, Ambassador Adeoye. My name is Ambassador Ephraim Nduka Hubert. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this program today. Thank you so much, Mr. Ephraim, for that introduction. My name is Adeoye David. So today, I will be the host for the program alongside Ambassador Higoma, who is the facilitator and the organizer of the program. So we are celebrating the International Girl Child Day today, as we all are aware. And the theme is Digital Generation, Our Generation. We have a program schedule with the introduction of the events, the girl child and digital literacy. And then we have powerful people in the house that are going to take us through. We have Caroline Nyarangi, who is the president of Ikea Sustainably International, talking to us about the part of the girl child. We have Rosco Fang, director, Watchman Relief Association Global. We should be dealing with the role of the girl child as contributors of sustainable economy. And also with the honor, we have Coach Rebecca Nwusurike from Kids Mindset Coach, Consultant, CEO, Ruby Impact Children's Global Foundation. And then he will be speaking to us on equipping the dyslexic for digital literacy. Not left behind is our own ambassador, Ifeoma Chinechere, the facilitator and the organizer of this program. Child rights advocate, personal development coach. She is an author and the president of Favour Discovery Foundation. She'll be dealing with the tricks on digital abuse, and also will be coming on board shortly for the introduction of events with the girl child and digital literacy. And of course, myself will be handling digital generation and your mental health in a very short time. And then we will be rounding off as we proceed. Once again, I welcome every one of us, and I hope we have a swell and exciting time as we share together from the experience of professionals here and the experience of people that have gone far in what they do. So may I quickly welcome Ambassador Ifeoma Chinechere as he takes over from here with the introduction of the event. Ambassador Ifeoma, I hope you're there. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so very much, Ambassador David, for this wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here. I want to appreciate every one of you that are present here this day. This is a special day we all are celebrating, International Day of the Girl Child. We are commemorating with United Nations to celebrate this wonderful day. It's a program we've been organizing every year, but we had to virtual training or a conference this year because of our literacy education campaign program we are having in communities. And so instead of not just coming up with anything today, we decided to do a virtual program. So every one of us will be participants of this year's event. Last year event was awesome. We crowned two ambassadors for Favour Discovery Foundation, that's the girl child. And so they did extremely well in their schools, at home, in churches, or wherever they find themselves. They've been busy advocating for the rights of the girl child and so many activities, you know. And so we are so excited that this program we organize every year is making great impact in the lives of young people. We are so excited, and we are happy you're present here today to witness this great occasion. We all know about the girl child, what is happening in our society today. So we decided to organize this program to create awareness, so we will be able to know what is happening. Like the theme of this year is digital generation. So it's important that we all are aware of what is happening, because we all know that the world is growing very fast, you know, in digital. We need to follow along, move along with it. Global village, yes. So it's important that we get to know what is happening so we can move on and then see how we can make impact in the lives of young people, because the vision of the organization is to make impact, great impact in the lives of young people, to put smiles on their faces and to help them to fulfill God's given gifts or talents in them. This is very important. And that is why we're excited you're here to witness this. I welcome every one of you, and I pray that you're joining this program today is not going to be in vain. You're going to go back with information that will make great impact in what you're doing, because many of us here are advocates, we are teachers, we are activists, we are parents, you know. So I believe that we're going to leave here with one or two things that will help us in taking care of the girl child, you know, that are found under our care. So I'm so excited to see every one of you. Thank you so much for coming or for joining us. Stay blessed. So I hand over to Ambassador David.
Okay, without wasting our time, we'll be calling on the first speaker for today, and is no other person than the president of Ikea Sustainably International. She will be handling with us today the power of the girl child. Of course, we know how powerful the girl child could be. So deeper exposition coming our way from Caroline Nyaragi. You're welcome as you take over, ma'am.
Business Administration at UO People University. Who is a girl child? My definition of a girl child in the context of the discussion is a female person right from childhood to adulthood, focusing on the teenage girl to maturity. Kathy Calvin, the president of the United Nations Foundation, said these words: girls are the most powerful force for change in the world when their rights are recognized, their needs met, and their voices heard. They drive positive change in their families, their communities, and the world. What are the attributes of a girl child? A girl child is a force to be reckoned with. She is powerful and strong, despite the fact that she is seen as a weakling. She is a formidable opponent. A woman is able to change any situation to her advantage. She is super bright and understands when to fight and when not to fight. And it's this need to change the people they love that makes them vulnerable to abuse and violence. A woman has dreams and skills that, if used, would radically change the unequal world and challenges she faces. A woman will always dream big. They will always want to improve their circumstances and will never settle for less. A woman is a go-getter. She will always, once she makes up her mind on something, she will always go for it. A woman is foresighted, bright, and natural leader. She makes things happen when she sets her mind to do them. Once she finds her voice, she won't be hushed. She won't take no for an answer. If she's given an equal chance in circumstances where she must compete with her male counterpart for a position, she will undoubtedly win. A woman sees ahead, while the male lives in the present. A woman lives in the future. However good or bad things may appear now, a woman will always have a plan up her sleeves. I'm talking this out of experience. What are the roles of a girl child in the society? A girl child who is a woman in maturity plays multiple roles in the society. A woman is a wife, a mother, and a human resource. A woman is a voice of reason in the society. A woman is the bedrock of the family, community, and the nation. A woman is an influencer and a role model. Challenges faced by a girl child. A girl child is faced with multiple challenges, amongst them rape, child marriages, gender-based violence, female genital mutilation, teenage pregnancies, poverty or lack of basic items like pads or sanitary towels, victims of sex trafficking. The list is not exhaustive, and society's attitude towards girls makes them more vulnerable. I've been a victim of rape. This happened to me when I was in high school. My mother sent me to live with a distant cousin of hers, who was apparently my auntie. And when the boyfriend came to live with her in her house, the man started raping me. I was only 15 years old. He continued. I had 2 years to go, and in those 2 years, he continued to rape me. Unfortunately, like most girls who are victims of rape, the blame goes to the victim. After I finished my high school, I talked to my then auntie and told her what was happening. But what did she do? She accused me of seducing her husband, or rather her boyfriend. The other time that I was raped, I was in college. By then I was a bit older. So my school fees was being paid by the church. And then they appointed one of the church elders to be my guardian because my mother was not within the same town that I lived. So the church elder was the one to go to school. When I needed a parent in school, he would go to school and check on my needs and everything. To me, he was a father figure. So one day he comes to college and asks for permission on my behalf saying that the other choir members missed me and they wanted me to have a session with them, a practice session with them. So I went to the church with him, all right, and at around it was about nighttime when we were done, around 7 p.m. Kenyan time. And then he was to take me back to school. But along the way, he parked the car and raped me. It was a very painful moment for me because this was a father figure. I trusted him. I grew up since I started my high school knowing that he was a father figure to me. And whenever I called, I was asked to bring a parent in high school. He was the one who would call on my mother's behalf. So he gave me an option of continuing with school and continue being in a relationship with him or drop out of school. But I had to choose the latter option because I couldn't see myself giving myself to him. He was older he was about the age of my grandfather. I was very young. When I talk about rape, it's a very difficult subject for me. And unfortunately, when I opened up about what happened to me to the choir master. He went to the pastor and talked to the pastor about it. And the man said that I was lying, and it was my word against him. He went to a doctor and falsified a doctor's report saying that I was seeing the doctor for mental health treatment. At a time I felt like maybe I was crazy, maybe I didn't understand, maybe I was not myself, maybe it didn't happen. I started doubting myself, but deep down I knew that the man had raped me, but no one would believe me because he had a falsified medical report and he was a respected man of the society. The church split into the right in the middle. The largest portion of the church believed that I was lying or I had a mental illness. But a few of the people felt like maybe she's saying the truth. But that is society, and that is what most victims of rape faced in every day. The society will always blame the victim. When I talk of female genital mutilation, I am a victim of female genital mutilation. I have gone through that. I was 8 years old when I was subjected to that, I was subjected to the cut. The society made you feel like you are not a human being if you're not, you don't go through the female genital mutilation. And of course, you're a child, you have no choice. Everyone in the community is doing it. And every girl your age is going through it. And that was it. It messed me up. It messed my sexual life, my everything, my emotional life. It was very difficult for me for many years. Now, according to RAIN, the National Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, 30% of girls throughout the world have their first sexual encounter forced upon them, and the offenders are often their family members and friends or people closest to them. 1 out of every 9 girls and 1 out of every 53 male children under the age of 18 are sexually abused or assaulted by an adult. The females account for 382% of all victims under the age of 18. And the victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault are 4 times more likely to be females aged 16 to 19 than the overall population. Most of these victims experience mental health challenges, which is unfortunately never discovered, especially in the African setup where discussions on sex are a taboo. What can we say about teenage pregnancies? The WHO statistics say that in underdeveloped countries, around 12 million females aged 15 to 19 years old and at least 777,000 girls under the age of 15 give birth each year, with at least 10 million unplanned pregnancies, which occur each year among adolescents and females aged 15 to 19 years. In Kenya, 1% of 15 to 19-year-old teenage girls are presently pregnant, while 3% have recently given birth. According to the data from the Ministry of Health Information System, approximately 328,000 females were pregnant in the first year of the pandemic. Pregnancy and delivery complications are the top cause of mortality for 15 to 19-year-old females worldwide. How do we unleash the potential of the girl child? A girl child has a great potential that requires a specific environment and conditions to thrive. We can unleash their potential through protecting them. The policy makers will need on gender-based violence, rape, sex trafficking, and female genital mutilation, and other vices against the girl child to protect them. We also need to educate them. We know that knowledge is power, and availability of information on the girls' rights will be one way of making sure that we empower them. The other way that we can unleash the potential of the girl child is empowering them. For example, increasing the digital literacy among the teenagers or among the girl child. The tech firms can take an active role in ensuring that they avail digital devices amongst to all the girls, especially in developed and developing countries, to ensure that the girls are empowered and they can get education from anywhere in the world. Like right now, we have the world is a digital village. Right now I'm able to study at People University because of the digital influence. If I wasn't digitalized, then I would not know the opportunities. I was able even to open Ikea sustainably because of globalization, and that was through the digital availability and empowerment. So we need to make sure that the girls, from wherever they are, have access to digital gadgets. They have access to internet connectivity to be able to educate them, to be able to empower them. We also need to give them equal chances in life. They should not be an afterthought, especially in education. Education should be for all. I have a girl and a boy. There is no way I can choose between who and of the two to take to school, because I know both of them need the education equally. So we need to educate the society. We need to educate the community. We need to make sure that a girl gets her rightful position in the community. Issues of land ownership and issues of marriage settlement. A woman spends a biggest part of their life doing unpaid labor with child rearing and keeping the home clean. And yet when you go to court, the court will say that you are unemployed. So we need to tighten these policies. We need to empower our women. What are the opportunities of a girl child in the digital era? We have many women who are getting into tech entrepreneurship. A lot of women also have online businesses. And the more we increase digital literacy among the girl child, the more the women will be able to access more opportunities in life and be able to help themselves. Access to quality education is also an opportunity. It's also an opportunity in the digital era. For example, I have stayed for many years, I've spent almost more than 20 years trying to get an education for myself. I couldn't pay for my school fees because I couldn't afford. There were always a lot of other things that were happening. I grew up in from a very poor background, and my mom could not pay for my school fees. And like I said earlier on, I had to drop out of college because I had to make some choices as a woman. So after educating myself in human resources management, I could not afford to go to the university. I wanted to go to the university very much, but I couldn't. So recently, through the internet, I was able to come across the University of the People. And when I talked to them, I told them I can't afford school fees, but I want to go back to school. They gave me a scholarship. I'm doing my first year in Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. Someone may think that I'm too old for that, but it's an opportunity for me. It is a chance that I never got when I was younger. So digitalization or the digital era gives a girl child an opportunity to be able to access quality education. I'm right now getting education that people from the US and all over the world are getting. We also have an opportunity in accessing quality jobs in tech. Tech jobs pay very highly, and unfortunately, they are male dominated. So the girls will salvage the tech opportunity and be able to educate themselves in technology and digital literacy. Or if we avail the digital literacy to the girl child, they will be able to compete in the tech industry. We also have globalization of solutions to the girl child. The world has become a village. Right now, a girl can talk about anything that is going on in her life with just an availability of a gadget. For example, if a girl is raped, it is very easy if she has a phone to even put it on Twitter or TikTok, and people will react to it and she'll get help. She can also call helpline that helps girls in distress. If a girl is maybe mistreated, it is easy to get help. If a woman is going through gender-based violence, it is very easy for this woman to get help. So these are the opportunities that are available in the digital era, amongst others. How can a girl child use her voice in the sustainability message? The sustainability message is anchored on the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. The girl child can use her voice to push for achievement of the SDGs because they offer hope for an equal and a sustainable world where no one is left behind. And in conclusion, we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals as shown on the color wheel. These goals offer the world a roadmap to attain a sustainable and a more equal world for everyone. The girl child can be an advocate of the SDGs by using her voice in advocacy and other means to force their leaders into facilitating the achievement of the global goals, because through that she will be able to achieve the freedom she seeks. Thank you.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I have to write down. Okay. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much once again Our dear Caroline, your experience was very rich, very powerful, and very, very educating. Thank you once again. Like I said, if is anyone that has questions before we move to the next speaker? Does anyone has question? Do we have any question? If you cannot speak, you can type your question in and send it to the chat, and then we pick it up from there and we direct it to our speaker. So does anyone have questions? Okay, so we have learned so much about the challenge faced by the girl child. So our next speaker coming on now is Acho Rosco Fang. He is a director, Watchman Relief Association Global. He'll be handling with us also the role of the girl child as contributors of sustainable economy. I will be having him for the next 20 to 25 minutes. You are welcome, sir. Acho Rosco Fang.
Thank you very much, sir, Mr. David, for the opportunity. Hello.
Hello,
Can I hear the
we are
lady
here.
making some noise? Let the ladies make noise. Today is your day. Make noise.
We are here.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello. Yes.
Woman A.
Woman A.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say immense thanks to Madam Yoma for giving me the opportunity to present what I have today. Things as we are talking about the opposite gender, which is the ladies. I wish to also acknowledge the presence of the other organizations that are represented here today, and also acknowledge the presence of Senator and equally Miss Dr. Nikki. Okay, as rightly said by the moderator, I am Acho Rosco Fang from Watchman Relief Association Global, which is based in Cameroon. Today we shall be looking at the role of a girl child as contributors to sustainable economy. But before looking at the main topic, which is the role, I would like us to first of all look at the different concepts of that makes up this topic. Okay. We have three things that makes up the topic. We have the girl child, we have of a girl child depends on the country that are involved. Now, for Cameroon, I would say that the girl child differs from their ages. In Cameroon, we have a limit of 20, which is the definition of a girl child below 20. Now, universally, we take a girl child, we say a girl child is a biological female offspring from birth to 18 years of age. That's with the next, which is sustainable. Now, when we talk of sustainable, is a process to maintain at a certain rate or level. Maybe we have a project and we want to execute that project. How will that project be able to, what is the project sustainability in it? Definitely, how do you intend to sustain that project? How do you intend to ensure that that project reaches the ground, the least person that you could not even expect? So that is what we talk about, the sustainable. Then we look at now the economy. We say the economy, the state of a country or region in terms of the production and consumption of goods and services and the supply of money. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now we are going to move again in sustainability. sustainable development, we have 3 pillars. And if we are looking about the women, the role of a girl child in a sustainable, as contributors to sustainable economy, we first of all have to look at 3 pillars of sustainable development. We have the economy. Those are the 3 pillars. That's the 17 SDGs that we have. Now, when we talk of economy, if we want to be analyzing it according to the pillars, we start with the economy. We are going to discover that the woman, the young girl has a lot to play as far as the economy is concerned in every country. They have a lot to play, by making their mindsets more entrepreneurially and see how to contribute in their various homes, society, and the country at large. Now, we move to the environment. When we talk of the environment, we discover that I was taught in school that teaching begins at home. The mother is the one to take care of, or the young girl is the one to take care of the environment. If we take like a young girl of 20 having a baby, that young girl start training the child certain things. How do you become a lady? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you prepare food? How do you keep the environment intact? All lies on the hands of a young lady or the hand of a woman. So the environment is another factor that embodies, that concerns a woman. Then we talk about the social aspect. Now, there are a lot of things our parents or our mothers have been training us, maybe when we're thinking about concerning the social aspect. I believe the ladies can tell us more about how the mother will put us down, we discuss, they tell the girl child, this, at this certain age, be experiencing all these things. This is what is going to happen to you at this particular time of the year and that. So through these areas, I think that the woman has a lot to offer as far as the sustainable development is concerned. As far as our economy is concerned, as far as the environment is concerned, as far as social aspects is concerned, some of the challenges that have been faced by young girls of today. First, they lack access to information. The second, we have finances, the lack of finances. Then technology. We have the lower level of girls' child employment in urban area, unregistered employment, the huge wage gap, exclusion from social security, male-dominated structures of unions excluding females. Now, if you want to analyze the first part, I have majority as a social entrepreneur. When I go out to talk with women out there, I discover that most of them are lacking information that concerns their growth. Most of them just believe that when they go to school, they study, focus only on their studies. They forgot to know that they are the but because of what they lack, they don't have somebody to encourage them. They don't like somebody to push them forward. What happens? They just believe that they have nothing to offer. Now, when we go to the aspect of finance, we hear most women, they complain about finances, that they don't have finances to do business. But if you ask a young girl today, the hair that she is putting on costs maybe about $20 or 50,000 CFA, the hair that they are putting on. But when you want to talk about making your mindset more entrepreneurial, they will tell you they don't have the money. Talking about the challenges faced by young girls today, and I was analyzing the part of lack of information. They do to quality information because they don't know where to get this information, and those that are in them all need something in return from them. That's why you see majority of they do not know what to do. Again, we talk about the financial aspect, and I was using the hair issue that you see 1,000 US dollars to play to go and do makeup and the rest. But not knowing that using that $20 or $10 to do that hair, you can use your at least $5 to do your hair, while you reserve the others and see how to invest into a business. And you discover that you're going to have it back on the phone. But using it just to do hair, at the end you say there is no finances. Then we talk about the technological aspect of issues and how they need to advance their technical know-how. Now, what we are going to see the remedy, what we need to do, the solutions to what they are facing later. Then we have the low level of girls' employment in urban areas. Now, many people believe that women pose of responsibilities. People believe on that. That is why you see them not employing ladies. Some of them want to use advantages of these young ladies before giving them this job. So we're supposed to practice equal in whatever we do. We're supposed to practice fairness in whatever we do. So this makes these women not to be courageous to face the society. This makes some of a job and they feel that their voices are not heard. Now we talk about unregistered employment. Now, majority people use unregistered employment to exploit these young ladies. Last year, I think it was in March, a young lady called me and told me that she was employed by an organization to do on commission. The deal is a bank, that the bank employed her to do commission. And during the commission, nothing was said on it. The only thing that they told her was, you are going to get maybe 20% or 10% from what we received. But at the end of the work, the lady did not even get what was expected. And at the end, she had to give up because of what? She felt biased. And the men that were there, because the men could fight back, they had to give them what they deserved. But the lady could not, was not given what she deserved. Then we talk about huge wage gap. In some establishment, we discover that they decide to pay men more than the women, because they think the men puts more energy than the woman. To do human with male and a female, and you decide to give that one person, or decides to give the male $100,000 and decides to give the female $50,000. How do you see this? So there is going to be a huge gap where the woman will be really like, how can we be doing the same thing and you are giving me high, you are giving the other person high pay? So it's going to be a lot of problems in the community. Then we talk about male dominated structures of unions, excluding females. Society, why then should we practice such that exclude women from it? Definitely, if we are talking about inclusiveness, definitely we need to bring everybody inside. We have to deal with everybody, no matter who you are, whether you are black, you are white, you are male, you are female. Definitely we need to bring everybody on board if we want to have inclusion by 2030. Now, how they can face these challenges? First on it, subsidizing the social security support contribution for girls, widening childcare and kindergarten facilities with low cost, encouraging the vocational education and the courses necessary for vacant jobs, increasing investment rate for education. Now, this ties back to all what we have been discussing. Now, if we talk about vocational studies, then the role that they have to play when women and young girls are decision makers in the community, you will see the economy booming because they are able to contribute their only two ideas, what they have, In the women becomes policy influence, see everything flowing in the community without any problem. Then we talk about, to sum it all, we talk about education. Again, if we want the global economic prosper, we must enact the domestic policy and structural reforms that will empower girls. Thank you very much. While waiting for your questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. Now, does anyone have questions?
I wanted to ask a question. My question is, if a woman is a housewife in a home, does she have the right as every other girl to walk about when her husband doesn't want her to do that?
Okay, but she has a right to work when the husband has not to work. All right, so Mr. Fang, over to you quickly. Mr. Fang is not here. Okay. Ambassador Hubert, can you attend to that?
Okay. If I understood the question, is can a woman work, or can she be a housewife if the husband wants her to work, or can she work if the husband wants her to be a housewife? Is that the question? Am I correct?
Yes, can she with her husband in the office? Let's say having a job. Can she have a job when her husband wants her to be a housewife?
No, if the husband wants her to be a housewife, it depends on agreement. If the husband can pay all the bills, if him alone take care of the finances of the home, then the lady can stay home and then start if she don't just sit down, that thing. She should be skillful. Whatever thing she finds her hands to do, she can start doing it. Not because she's going to work, she will just sit down and then fold her hands. Not actually good. Sitting down at home doesn't mean you should not, be a writer. Sitting down at home should not be, maybe you can't be creative in skills. No, while sitting down at home, taking care of the home, you should be creative. Something you're passionate about, like professional and all of that. All these things that what keeps the brain alive, the body alive, and everything. There's so many things to do. All things help. So it's a kind of win-win. Some most of them should agree. Okay, fine, I can start home, but I will be clean my hands. I will work with my brain. One thing about the brain is it will start deteriorating. It is better for everyone to be alive, and so you must be busy with your hands and your brain. Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, your question was a very nice question, and it's a question that though sounds simple, but it's not. But it's something that I think is very, very necessary that we try and trash out here. Now, for a girl child, one of your ultimate goals in life is to get married, right?
Yes.
Now, you are seeing what is happening in the society, and it's left to you to know that, look, I'm either going to end up left or right. Left or right, what do I mean? You're either going to end up with somebody who is enlightened and educated, but still still loves to do things the traditional way, or somebody who is not enlightened at all and want to do things the traditional way. So, but you as a girl child need to develop yourself right now. Develop yourself, equip yourself. If you happen to marry a man that you love and loves you, but insists that you should be a full-time housewife, get a laptop, your education. You see, things are so good now. It's a global village, even internet-wise. Even at home, you could still make money, you could still make education, you could still teach. You can do a lot of things with your phone, with your laptop, that at the end of the day, you have not really gone against the wish of your husband, but you have shown him that you can even be more productive at home than he that goes out. That is one angle. The second angle is this. When you get to the point of getting married to your husband, you must sit. Communication matters a lot. If you're marrying a man that you know that is going to insist that you sit at home, you first discuss, communicate. Sweetheart, you want me to sit at home for how long? Is it for the period I'm going to have a number of children you want me to have, or exactly for how long? What some men don't realize that you ask your wife, you married a pretty woman and all that, you said sit at home, don't go out. By the time she sits at home, eats and all that, adds that weight and all that, start losing the beauty that you think about, you start regretting as well. So who benefits? So that communication is important, but you cannot communicate intelligently if you are not educated. So the education is the primary key. No matter who you're going to marry, whether be him rich, be him poor, develop yourself now so that no matter where you find yourself in future, you will be able to survive. You understand? Of course, you could come across somebody that circumstances might make you even become a full-time housewife. Sorry to say, you could finish marriage, you could be educated, PhD holder and all that, you even have a good job. But peradventure, something like an accident or illness now keeps you at home, that you can no longer move. Is that the end of your life? No, you fall back on what you've learned. You do things at home. You, in fact, you know, when you are in one place, thinking and working intellectually and doing some mental calculation, it saps your energy, keeps you healthy, keep your system flowing. So as much as you know as a girl child that, look, there's a limit to your future, that's you determining where you're going to be in future, you must prepare yourself, arm yourself properly, that whichever one comes, you fall in and still have your happiness. You fall in and you are still useful. You fall in and you can add value both to your husband and to yourself. Thank you. I don't know if I made sense to you. I hope I was not too advanced.
No.
Thank you so much. I think the take home there is communication.
Exactly.
Communication between the husband and the wife. Communication to understanding. Thank you so much. Hello, yeah.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
Wonderful. My name is Michael Hubert. I'm from India. Sir, the
good to have you
attitude
here.
of them, some of the males, and still happening, are women being treated like a cattle. As a cattle, they are being treated. How do you see this can be overcome?
Please come again, sir.
So the women,
Okay.
young women or women, are treated like a cattle, like a cow, or like a cow, you know, or like a bull. They are being treated. They are treated by the male dominance. Still,
Okay.
some places it's happening.
Okay.
In your opinion, what are the ways that this can be overcome?
All right. Who wants to answer them? Some women being treated.
May I?
How can this be handled? It still happen in some countries.
May I reply about it?
Okay, Senator. You want to speak? You're welcome.
Thank you very much. This is, my brother asked a very pertinent question.
Yeah.
That today in the world, there are places, not only in the developed world, not only in the less developed world or undeveloped world, it is even in the developed world, there is the society become a men's dominating society. And the answer to it is there are two things which is needed. One is the legislation, which should be a proper legislation for the women rights and benefits for the women. And second thing is use of technology. As our topic today is digitalization, and especially as of today's the UN announced this day is for Women Child Day. So what we are talking here to protect the rights of woman child, and that is what the girl child. That is what that we should put the awareness to our girls that please go and adopt the digital world. What is the digital world? And what is the basic need of the digital world? What I believe is the basic need for digital world is just a good internet connection and only one gadget. If we have one smartphone, which can be used by multiple people, and they can get the access to the digital world, the more near our girls will be to the digital world, the more access they have, they will definitely be secured at all the level. So my humble suggestion is, as a matter of fact, end of the conclusion of this today's event, in which there are august people, they are sitting here, the elite class, they are sitting here, they are the they want to give something to our coming generation, especially our child, girl child. So my humble request is that we should pass a resolution which should be circulated everywhere, that as we are talking about the digital generation, which is today, the importance of this digital world is that the access should be especially from the less developed areas, from less developed community. Thank you very much. This is my humble suggestion and request.
Thank you, sir.
That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Senator Miam. Yeah, there should be a circular to that effect. In fact, one of the things why, the reason for today, why we're celebrating that, is so that this information can go out. When there is massive awareness of something, that is when move can actually be made. And this is one area where we are circulating, making this awareness broad, making this, happen all over the world. And with no time, you see that there will be less and less of all this bullying and all that. Thank you so much, Ms. Miam. Okay. Any other one before we go to our next speaker? Our time fast spent. All right. So can we go to the speaker? We have also in the house.
Hello.
Coach. Hello.
From the word go, there was a discussion. Another person just made mention of the main keys in making the woman understand certain things is about communication. Yeah, but for the girl child, sometimes most of such violence comes in just because maybe the person has not taken, I don't know if I should say 100% responsibilities of her actions, because there are some certain actions which somebody goes in. When they talk of with ladies, they are vulnerable to such. The reason being, most of the times they give so much of that violence to the man. And in doing it, when it comes to a couple, it is a question of asking that this person, before then, this person, am I able to cope with the negative sides of the person? Am I not able to cope? Or why not? Just asking, this person is this way before I get into any actions, because I know that preparing before marriage, before you know that maybe you enter and your husband tells you you're not supposed to work or certain things. There are always things which they call courtship, which in courtship, you have to discuss such things. And there is nothing like a taboo topic in courtship. Most of those issues happen because such topics have not been discussed from the beginning. Because if you have to discuss such topics at the beginning, you have to see that, okay, this is this person I'm heading into. This person likes these things, the person dislikes these things. If you give a fluent communication at that moment, at the end of it, you get to take a good decision by then, knowing that, okay, this is how this person is. If I get in with this person, this is how I can manage my issues. The person is going to give me a go ahead to do my work and not just staying back at home to say, no, if I work, maybe I will more than the man. It is all about understanding, because if you have a mutual, they used to say sometimes that
Marriage sometimes is not about love, it's not about sex, but it's first of all about understanding. An individual, you learn to say, okay, with this individual, I can understand this person from this point of view. If the person is this way, how do I manage? And with such an individual also, you have two things which you need to struggle to manage also. How to manage the person, your praises, how to manage your critics. Because a woman will know that you have a little side which is a weak point. That woman will always like base on it, which makes you maybe as a man, you go back to say, no, you do things which they are going the wrong way just because you want to disprove a point. So most of these things are about mutual understanding. That was my own point. I don't know if I'm dragging you behind because I was
not at all.
Okay.
That's
okay. Thank you very much.
So much. So you were saying before even the knot is tied, let's know where we are driving ourselves at the initial stage. Communicate and know before you go into.
Of course.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. All right, because of our time, we go straight to I want to welcome our Coach Rebecca Nwazurike, all the way from Kids Mindsets. You know, is is a consultant CEO, Ruby Impact Children's Global Foundation. Wow. He's a kids mindset coach. So we want to get our mindsets right with the topic, equipping the dyslexic for digital literacy. You are welcome, Coach Rebecca. You have the floor. We're going to.
Right, good evening, everyone. So good to be here. Thank you, Favour Discovery, for this awesome privilege. Okay, I'm Rebecca Nwazurike. I'm a kids mindset coach. I support kids with special needs. I've been working with children for over 20 years now. And I'm the CEO and founder of Ruby Impact Children's Global Foundation. I'm so pleased and excited to be here today, celebrating the girl child. All right, today we're doing equipping the dyslexic for digital literacy, equipping the dyslexic for digital literacy. Take a look, and I don't know if you could imagine this in your mind. Imagine that child that has been sent out of the class. She's standing by the hallway. She doesn't seem to understand what the problem is because she's frustrated. She's tired of life. She doesn't know what to do anymore. I mean, she's putting in all the effort, but there is nothing to show. I mean, she's trying her best to read. She's trying her best to write, but it doesn't seem to work out. I mean, has anyone ever told you as a kid that you are not good enough? Just imagine that scenario. I don't know if you've ever experienced that as a child. Someone telling you that you're not good enough, you're not clever enough. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen to anyone. Look at Whoopi Goldberg. Here's a woman who I just talked about her story briefly. When she was 4 years old, that was where this whole problem started. She couldn't read, she couldn't write, she was struggling through school, she didn't know what was wrong. Everybody was trying their best. The teachers were putting in all the effort, burning the candles, and it wasn't just working. She struggled all through her career. But here she is today. Who doesn't know Whoopi Goldberg? I mean, she's got so many awards in the entertainment industry. Now, looking at the feelings of the dyslexic girl child, like I asked earlier, has anyone ever told you as a child that you were not good enough? I mean, look at the board, for example. The dyslexic child looks at the board, he's trying to copy the notes, and he's wondering, what am I seeing? I've taught a couple of dyslexic children, and they keep having the same challenge. You tell them to copy what's on the board or to read from a text, and they tell you, please excuse me, Miss Rebecca, the words are flying. And you're wondering how, I don't understand. They tell you the words are flying, they're confusing similar letters, they're facing this constant failure. They are trying their best, they're putting in the effort, but it doesn't just seem to be working. There's this shame they're living with, and they're wondering, wow, everybody in the class can read, everybody in the class can write, but I can't write. I mean, they live with this constant shame as a girl child. And they're wondering what's going on with me. Am I normal? They have this constant anxiety, depression, and most of the times, I know there's a child who ended up committing suicide because of the shame. He couldn't just take it anymore. And that was how the child ended his life. Now, when we talk about dyslexia, we're talking about the inability to read properly because of the way the brain processes and interprets graphic symbols. I mean, that's how they're wired. But that's just what we see it as on the outside. But within the brain of the child, something is going on. Their wiring is somehow different because their axons, there's something they call axons in the brain. Their axons are spaced, their axons are longer. So because of that, they don't process information the way the normal brain does. They see information, yes, but they blend it into a narrative that makes sense only to them in their own way. So others don't seem to understand, but why is this child not getting this? What's going on? Why the struggle? They see the bigger picture. They don't see details. They're not interested in the details. Their brain doesn't really process that. They connect to ideas effectively and find phonetic coding very, very difficult. That's why they confuse letters and assimilate. 20% of the world's population are dyslexic and they don't even know it. Like Hubert Goldberg, she never knew she was dyslexic until she was an adult. You can imagine someone is suffering from something and doesn't even know what is going on. Statistics show that 25% of school dropouts are dyslexic. Can you imagine that? 25% of school dropouts are dyslexic. I was surprised when I came about this figure. 50% of people who have dyslexia going to drugs, going to alcohol, 80% going to juvenile delinquencies. They're all dyslexic. Can you imagine? 1 billion people in the world are illiterate. 1 billion people in the world are illiterate. A 7% of the world's population are illiterate. Can you imagine that? That's the need for us to cure illiteracy in the world today. There's an illiteracy pandemic, and that's what's eating deep into the society. Kids who are unable to read in their 4th grade have only about 78% chance of never being able to read again. Can you imagine that? So if the dyslexic girl child is not helped now, before they get to the 4th grade, there's a likelihood they may never read again. And you know what happens when they remain illiterate? The vaccine. The world is thinking about heart diseases, cancer. They're looking at how to fight these diseases, prevent them. But we forget the worst of all diseases. It's illiteracy. Illiteracy is worse than a pandemic, honestly. Literacy is the cure to hunger. Literacy is the cure to poverty. Literacy is the cure to crime. All these things we are saying, crime here and there. Literacy is what solves it all. Literacy will give people jobs. They will create jobs. They will provide jobs, not only for themselves, but for others, if only they are literate. So it will cure unemployment. Now, the need for an early intervention. The dyslexic child, look at her, the dyslexic girl child. We need an early intervention. Remember, we said that the 4th grade, once these children are not helped before 4th grade, 78% they may never read again. So they need an early, timely intervention to help them because the dyslexic child needs this empowerment to harness their potentials because they have advantages as a dyslexic girl child. And they need to be able to know how to harness these advantages, these potentials in this digital age. So that's why we need to give these children empowerment to be able to come out and make a difference in the world before the cement of their personality solidifies. I work with children with special needs and I support kids because I'm a kids mindset coach. It's easier, I've discovered it's easier to create change in children who are just from 0 to about 7 years old. Once it is 7 years old, it's sealed. It takes a lot of time to initiate change. Now, the advantage of the dyslexic child, as a result of the way the brain of the dyslexic girl child processes and interprets information, the dyslexic girl child naturally possesses the 21st century skill termed creativity. Wow. they have an advantage. They are very, very creative due to their unique ability to visualize. They can see things you don't see. They can create images in their minds. That's one of their superpowers. The dyslexic girl child is a dynamic achiever. 40% of self-billionaires around the world are dyslexic. Wow, look at Grant Cardone. I don't know if you've heard about Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone suffered from dyslexia to an extent. I mean, he had other disabilities, learning disabilities. He had dyslexia, but look at him today. He's a multi-billionaire. I mean, look at this. He was dyslexic. We have 25% of entrepreneurs. They are all dyslexic. Can you imagine this? 35% of entrepreneurs are dyslexic, like Steve Jobs. The dyslexic love calculations. The dyslexic child, they love calculations. I had a child I worked with at one time. This child didn't know how to read, didn't know how to write. So it was a big fight, a big challenge, and a struggle for the child. But once you bring up a calculation, something you have to think about, calculate, and generate solutions, the child just gives you the answer. I'm wondering, wow, how did the child know this? So they are very good with calculations and they make great engineers. Children with dyslexia, they're very good architectures when they grow. They're very good in architecture because of the visualization. They end up as artists. For example, Tom Cruise, he had dyslexia to an extent. He couldn't read, he couldn't write. I mean, to an extent, this was so embarrassing. When he was even given his first role to act a movie, it almost disqualified him. They told him, man, if you can't get to read the script, then there's no way you can be an actor. What did he do? He started using his power to visualize. He got someone to read the scripts, and then he created an image of it in his mind. There's a child I coached then. This child will pretend that he knows how to read, but really did not know how to read. What he does is he listens to the same passage others are reading, then he will create a picture in his mind and then start telling you exactly the story. And you'll be wondering, oh, is he reading? No, but when you check what he's reading, it's not exactly what is there. But because he was able to create pictures of what you're talking about in his mind, he could understand. So that's one of the superpowers that Tom Cruise used to overcome. Now, people who are dyslexic make good scientists. Wow, they think out of the box. They are sharp, they are smart. It's true, they can't read very well, but they have this superpower to be able to think out of the box. Look at Albert Einstein, look at Thomas Edison. Today, go to the NASA scientists. 1 out of every 2 NASA scientists is dyslexic. You can imagine this. I mean, early intervention steps for dyslexic girl child. We need to catch them young. We need to intervene young, especially in this digital age. We need to catch them young. We don't need to sit down until they are adults and their personality is cemented and there's nothing we can do again. So we need to give them early intervention, empower them early by exposing them to cognitive skills that the brain uses to think, to read, to learn, to remember, to reason, to pay attention. That's where they thrive. So we need to expose them to cognitive skills. Another one is to minimize text. Can you imagine this text on the screen? Look at the way a dyslexic child sees the text. You write on the board or he's given to him in a book. This is the way he sees it. Can you read it? I mean, you're seeing the screen now. Can you read it? That's how they see it. That's why it's difficult for them to read because of the way their brain interprets and processes graphic information. So we can use more of pictorials. Pictorials help children with dyslexia. We can help the dyslexia girl child with pictorials. Try to portray what you're saying more with pictorials. Use diagrams, use videos, use audios. That's how to deliver instructions to them and make it stick. Can you see, we can also use multicolored texts when we are treating instructions, delivering instructions to children with dyslexia. It helps them to differentiate and helps them to blend the information. All right, let's look at the next one, brain integration, exercise, and therapy. Brain integration, exercise, and therapies also help children with special needs, especially those with dyslexia. I mean, the visual aids is very, very effective. I've used this for over 5 years with children with dyslexia, I've seen a lot of difference. I mean, the brain integration exercises, they help to team the corpus callosum at the center of the brain that demarcates the left brain from the right brain. It teams it, all these brain exercises, brain integration exercises, so that the left brain and right brain is a mirror image of whatever the child is trying to process. So it makes processing easier for them. I've used this method for children with dyslexia. I've seen them go from not being able to even write their names to start writing their names, to copying text, to reading passages. It works like magic. The ball press, putting the ball in between your two knees and pressing it down. The brain kindle is another powerful brain integration exercise that helps children with dyslexia. So the earlier we introduce these things to them, the easier it becomes for them to be able to read and to write. Now we need to encourage the girl child to quit focusing on her limitations and imperfections. We need to encourage the girl child. You know, you need to see children that this girl child that has dyslexia, they're always discouraged, they're always ashamed. They don't want to. I remember the story of Annie. Annie was an orphan, and Annie was adopted by a very wealthy multi-billionaire at the end of the day. She was happy. But one day, this multi-billionaire decided to put her on stage and gave her the speech that he wanted to read before the crowd. She kept crying and she ran away in shame. Can you imagine? What was the problem? She couldn't read. So when I'm coaching children with dyslexia, the special needs, all I tell them is they keep displaying this frustration that, why am I not able to do what others can do? What do I do? What's going on with me? Something wrong with me? I keep telling them, focus on your strengths. You say, but I can't write now. Yes, you can't write now, but you're making progress. At least now you can write your name. At least now you can blend this 3-letter word. Show them that they are making progress. Let's encourage them to quit focusing on the limitation. And then stop focusing on the imperfections, okay? It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. Thank you very, very much. I don't know if we have any questions.
Wow. I'm big.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, moderator. I saw one question. Hello.
Okay. I can hear you.
I saw one question. Yeah, from the chat. The question is possible to capture that early in the African setup? Let me repeat it. Is it possible to capture that early in the African setup?
Okay, yes, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Because remember, the dyslexic child has some challenges. I mean, there are developmental stages for children to go through. So when you look at these different stages and you notice something is missing, I mean, if you're always observant, you should know, and then you get a clinical evaluation for the child to really know what's wrong. Yeah, it's early. You can find it out earlier.
Okay, thank you so much about that. Over to you, Ambassador David. Okay.
Yes, Madam Rebecca, I just want to say that was a very, very nice presentation. You actually presented a highly scientific issue in a very, very interesting way, using real life issues and popular people's, so much that even somebody who knows nothing about it or is not interested becomes interested. I think it teaches us a little 1 or 2 things here of how to relate or how to break issues down to simple levels that anybody can key in. I'm very much impressed. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if Ambassador David is available here. So, everyone.
Hello. Oh, we can hear.
All right. Sorry. Thank you so much, all the speakers so far. We all know today is our one-day virtual Girl Child Conference. I am Ambassador Ihoma Chinecherem. I'm a child rights advocate, a personal development coach, an author, the founder of Favour Discovery Foundation. Like we all know about the digital generation, generation. And the topic I derived from the theme is tricks on digital abuse. That's what I'm going to be talking about. Now, it's all about a lot of, a lot is going on in the digital world today. There's high use of technology in the world. Hello, can you hear me now? There's a little network issue here.
Yes,
I'm hearing.
So if you go to my next slide, it explains what digital abuse is all about. Digital abuse is the use of technology or internet to bully, harass, intimidate, stalk or control a partner. All this happens online or cyberspace. A lot of people have been harassed and intimidated on social media through their smartphones. A lot of individuals have received threatening phone calls. Some have been tracked to their locations. It is known as what? Location tracking via phones or social media. Some through cyber stalking. Stalking occurs when someone watches or follows or harasses you repeatedly, making you feel afraid or unsafe, and may occur from someone you know, or past partner, or a stranger. Now, let me share a story with us. Since the beginning of this year, I've had so much, cases of murder, so much cases of fraud, scam, and all of that. A lady of a copper was murdered through what? Cyberspace. On social media, someone posted, on her timeline about a vacancy as a copper now, she's keep her going. And then someone else posted vacancy in a particular state. Can you make it? Can you come? And she agreed. She never knew the guy was a murderer. And she had to go to that state thinking it was a genuine opportunity that came for her. And when she went, it building, and that was how she was raped and murdered. That was the end of her. So this cyberspace has caused a lot of things. Young people are so desperate about, having friends, having relationships, having jobs and all of that. And it has affected a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people, caused a lot of depression. So many persons have been tricked severally and have lost huge sum of money. Many have lost their lives and fortunes as a result of tricks on digital abuse. Many, as a result of greed, have been tricked repeatedly. Repeated abuse experience could be called cyber victim, while repeated abuse committed by the abuser is known as cyber violence. One should be able to avoid abuse after the first experience. Why should one follow, one should allow it to be repeated? As the saying goes, once bitten, twice shy. One should learn from experience. No, you shouldn't allow it happen to you. Where you can learn from others. So less attention has been given to digital abuse or in the society. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. So we need to be sensitive about all those things. And then when you move to my next slide, you see where abusers can technically use any internet connected device to carry out digital abuse, including computer or smart devices in your home. One prevalent form of digital abuse is cyberbullying among teenagers and young adults. Over 50% of teens, especially the girl child, have experienced cyberbullying in some form. Now look at the pictures that you see. Someone was texting a girl child, say you're ugly, bullying the girl, in a cyber space. And the other picture you can see, from the computer, what they were saying to her, and then she was just feeling shy, So all these things, without parents knowing it, is happening in the cyberspace. And that's why you see some girl child are affected because they don't know how to use, the internet. They don't know how to use their devices. So more concern should be given, on young children. We should train them on how to use all these devices, because we're in a digital generation. It's a blessing to be here, but we don't allow it to destroy the younger people. Going astray, we should help them. Please, it's very important. And then we have examples of digital abuse. Here are some common examples that can illustrate the different forms of digital abuse that you may encounter. That's on the next slide. You see where the examples of digital abuse on my next slide. The first one is the abuser may demand access to social media accounts or steal passwords to check on interactions. Sometimes they try to hack people's, details so they can have access to their devices. Secondly, the abuser may send the victim insulting or negative emails or messages. Look at you. Come, I can help you. I can make you to become whatever thing you want to be. They'll make this child feel as if she is nothing. And if the child is not aware, you see them, they get deceived, So the third one is the abuser may track victims' social media activity, including the locations and people tagged on their posts. Last time I saw myself in a group, I wasn't aware of the group. I just saw myself. I was surprised. Why am I here? What am I doing? Somebody, added me to that group. So a lot of things happen. So we should be, more attentive to all of this so we can educate our younger children in this digital world. And the next point is they may post humiliating or insulting things online about the victim and sometimes publish unflattering videos. Last time somebody called me, I received a message from a friend, for a help. I never knew it wasn't the friend. It was someone that, had that phone that used that to communicate with me. And as God may have it, the question he asked me, I've never answered the question. So we should be very, very careful when using the cyberspace. And the next point we have there is the abuser may pressure the victim into sending explicit text, photos or videos, or send their content to the victim without their consent. So a lot of things happen. People send a lot of information, a lot of photos. You see, sometimes they disguise themselves. They use other people's photos as if they are the ones. No, it is Let's take note of these. So knowing what signs to look out for can help you, the young people, to recognize what digital abuse victims before it becomes a problem. They should be able to look out for all this digital abuse. We should inform them that is not all what they see in social media that is real. Some of those things are fake. Let's inform them. Don't just give your child a gadget, a device, and then you don't educate the child. Many children have, killed themselves, or they've murdered themselves, or they are dead today because, they weren't coached about using the devices they were handed over to. So these are things we need to consider when giving all these things to our children. The common digital abuse signs are what? Someone sends you threatening or insulting text, publishes humiliating things about you, or tags you in hurtful posts. Next, someone demands to know your account password or gains access to your account. You find, spyware on your phone. You notice accounts on social media with your name and images that you did not create. So all of these things are things we should know. Okay, so let's inform them about all these things. It's very, very important. So our children will not be victims of abuse. So the next one is who is at risk of digital abuse? Anyone can experience digital abuse, but girls or teens are more vulnerable than others because of the way they use the internet. They don't know how to make use of the internet, and you gave them the laptop, you gave them the phone to make use of. Teach them, educate them, put them on the right track. This will help them. Now, teenagers and young adults also can be risk. According to the Urban Institute, 25% of teens reported, experiencing digital abuse, yet only 9% sought help. And even then, rarely did they seek it from their parents or teachers. They are scared, they can't be open. Let them know that whatever situation they find, they're open. Young people should be open. If they open up, they will save themselves from all of this digital abuse that's happening everywhere in the world. Children can be particularly vulnerable to cyberbullying. According to bullying statistics, 30% of students are either victims of bullying or bullies themselves. Now, the next slide, you see what the consequences of digital abuse is. Digital abuse can lead to what? Financial loss, physical injury, and even suicide. 2 months ago, a first-year student, was on social media. It was posted on how she drank sniper, to commit suicide, just because sniper, most people use sniper as a form of poison, just because on social media, somebody told her to pay for something, and she used her school fees to pay for that item, and then she couldn't afford paying her school fees. That's how she took sniper, to eliminate her life. Let's encourage them to be open to whatever situation they find themselves. This will help them. So the next one is digital abusers may try to get an emotional response from their victims. Because of this dynamic, the problems can, induce psychological issues in the victims, or in the victims, such as anxiety or depression. Just like what happened to that student I just shared with us. What happened after she realized that she has used her school fees for something else. She got depressed. She felt she couldn't, be open to her parents, and that's how she, drank up poison and then eliminated her life. So let's always encourage them. Sometimes parents, you threaten your children, you make them not to be open to you. It's risky. Love them, show them love. Let them be open to you. Tell them to always be open to you, that whatever situation they have, you can help them out. But when you're always harsh on them, when they're having issues, they try to cover up, they try to hide it from you. And before you know it, they get depressed and then they, commit suicide. Please take note of this. So now the next is digital abuse prevention and intervention. Digital abuse prevention and intervention. Being able to identify digital abuse is a crucial first step. The next step is to cut off the abuser so that they have no access to you or your account. Let your children know that if they discover anything or identify anything that they don't really understand, they should do what? Cut off from it. They should not continue with it because it's dangerous, it's risky. Now, the steps to prevent you or the young child, or your loved ones from being abused. Number one is disable what? Geolocation. When you give them a phone, try to disable what? Geolocation is an app. Disable it so that these abusers will not locate them. You understand? Will not locate their locations wherever they are. This is very important. And do not install what? Any apps that require what? Permission to have administrative access to their phones. This is very important. Change all your pins. When you have password in whatever thing, learn to change your password weekly. When you observe anything, change your password immediately. Reduce the risk of what? Unauthorized access. In whatever gadget you're going to give to the girl child, make sure you do all of these. Use one email account for communicating with friends and different one for handling finances. Let them know. So the next one is, the next slide is what? Disable what? The location feature when posting online. Avoid location tagging when posting on social media. Share the identity of your abuser with your friends. Once you discover any abuser, share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Then ask them not to share any information with the abuser. They should seek help from what? The National Domestic Violence Hotline. I'm going to send it to our email. So also confide in a trusted family member or friend and seek their guidance in dealing with the problem. Whatever problem it is, you can't, deal with it alone. You meet the agencies that are responsible for all of this, and they will help you out. Seek what? Psychological help if you feel that abuse has had an effective on your mental or on you mentally. Like the next speaker is going to talk about the mental health. So I won't waste much time here. Thank you so much. If there's any question, you can go on and ask your questions. Hi.
Are we still here?
Hello?
Are we
We're
still here? Wow, thank you so much, Ambassador Ihoma, for that powerful one. Does anyone have question? Any question or contribution? Quickly before we move on. Question and conclusion, tricks on digital abuse. Question and contribution. Please, I didn't even check the chat to see if there is any.
There's no question.
On the chat.
There's no question. Yeah. Let's go on with Ambassador David. So,
all right. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Adeoye David, and briefly I'll be speaking on digital generation and your mental health. Of course, several people have talked about this digital generation and then some effects on our mental health. I am Adeoye David, the president, Broken but Mendable Life Foundation, the foundation of mental health, suicide prevention, and trauma healing. So I'll just talk briefly because of our time. I know a lot of people have delved into it. Ambassador Yoma has talked to about cyberbullying. Like somebody rightly said in one of the chats, is that there is great advantage of digital literacy. And also we have some risk factor of digital literacy. I'm sorry, the PowerPoint is not there to share, though I have it so I can send to some emails that will require it with time. But quickly, I will just point out some things and then we move on. Okay. Hello. Rian. Hello, Rian.
Yeah.
Oh, can I send it to your email to share it?
Yeah.
Okay, can you quickly type it out for me? Let me just send it. Sorry for that. Though I will still move on. Okay, got it. All right, sorry. So we want to talk about the digital. When it comes up into the email, she will call it up as we move along together. So can I ask, what is mental health? Let's just make this interactive. What is mental health? What do we understand by mental health? What is mental health? Can someone talk?
I believe it means taking care of your mind.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Oh, I believe it's taking care of your mind, taking care of what you watch, who you're surrounded by.
Okay.
Because even in the environment, whatever environment you're in, if you have people who are verbally abusive, that can affect you mentally. Even if you're sick physically, that can affect you mentally. So it's how you take care of your body as well, since mental health and physical health goes hand in hand.
Thank you so much, Campbell. Thank you. Any other person? Now, mental health includes our emotional, our psychological, and our social well-being. And that's why mental health affects the way we think, it affects the way we feel, and it affects the way we act. And you see, the mental is very important at every stage of our life, from childhood to adolescence. So now, mental illness is what is so common and prevalent. And one aspect that has led to a lot of prevalence of this time around is even this digital literacy. And that's where the risk of digital generation comes in. So we are all aware of the concept of bullying, where we have one experience unwanted aggression and hostility from another person or group of people. In past years, it includes physical attack, verbal abuse, or social embarrassment. But the new dimension now of bullying it comes with the emergence of social media. So cyberbullying is becoming a widespread problem, and it is only now that people have started acknowledging its effects on mental health. So I will just look briefly because I want people to contribute so that we can share and rub minds together. With this cyberbullying, You know, I will share a case quickly. I was a lady called me in one of our states and said to me, I was cyberbullied. And you know, a nude picture was circulated on the internet. She was blackmailed. And that impact almost made her to commit suicide. Because even at the point of speaking with her, she was still battling with that depression. So these are one of numerous effects. So when you look at effects of cyberbullying, we look at depression, anxiety, and PSTD. Cyberbullying increases the risk of mental health problems for its victim and can impact on us in all these various ways. When you become a victim of cyberbullying, you get depressed, like you see in that picture. You can develop anxiety disorder, and you can also have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, which the lady was having. And you know, when you are tormented, when you are going through a trauma, and you know, when you have complex trauma, it affects the functioning of the brain, such that whenever there is something similar or similar to what you have experienced before, it brings your brain to a malfunctioning, such that the alarm doesn't go off any longer. So at that point, you are experiencing what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Depression is so common all over, even before the coming of COVID-19. Here in Nigeria, we have about 50 million people suffering from depression. And so with the coming of COVID and all that, so much loss of job and all that aggravated all this. And so depression is so common, and these are one of the things that the cause when we are cyber. Okay, are we together? Hello. So there exists a link between cyberbullying and depression due to the trauma inflicted on the victim. A person who has suffered cyberbullying may start to feel anxious. You lose interest in activities that you like before, or your sleeping patterns and eating habits may take a toll, along with the energy level. So as a result of depressive episode following the cyberbullying incident. So there could be scenarios where the brain of the victim may recall the horrific events, causing psychological stress response and PTSD. And this happens as the brain may continuously secrete stress hormone, making the victim relive this stressful event over and over again. Okay, so this is one cause. Another one is it reduces your self-esteem. Individuals who experience cyberbullying may create a negative image about themselves. Their confidence level automatically drops. Their decision-making ability are hampered due to the trauma. So as the brain's defense mechanism kick in and makes one doubt their ability, that's what it does for you. When you are bullied digitally, it affects your brain defense mechanism. And then you begin to doubt your ability. So if you notice someone very close to you, a girl child close to you that is withdrawing or that has lost confidence in his ability, that you know his level before and is now dropping, then that should trigger something within you that something is wrong. And that should make you to ask the question, are you okay? Okay, so some people find it difficult to make decisions, such as what meals to have, what clothes to wear, and this indicates a diminishing sense of control. You lose your control when you are cyberbullied. And it follows by a general spell of lethargy, which prohibits victims from getting out of bed. I've had series of cases of people that are cyberbullied, and then you see them lock up themselves in the room. They feel ashamed because you know one thing about cyberbullying is different from the physical form of bullying. This one has an impact. It has a trace. It has a record. You can go online anytime and you can get details of what you want to get online. So it's different from the physical one. The physical one, you can go scot-free. No, somebody that was not there may not know. But here, even 100 years to come, somebody that is not there before can get out the details. So the third one, it's manifest suicidal thoughts. There could be cases where victim develops suicidal thoughts. Very, very correct. Think about physical harming themselves. These are rare and advanced. The lady I talked about, the nude picture was circulated. She said to me, she said, I gave my phone to a friend. I don't know how my pictures get out. The next thing I saw was my nude picture online. You know what that means? The girl felt like killing herself, but for intervention. So how then can we deal with cyberbullying? I'll just, drop this and then we go to some questions. How do we deal with cyberbullying? Now, while it is understandable that the victim might feel a sense of shame and fear, they can nevertheless use the following ways to deal with cyberbullying. Ambassador Wilma talks so much about all those, but then you use legal recourse, to block the victim. Victims may approach the police and file complaints under information technology and criminal law. There are several provisions under the publishing and there are several provisions against publishing or transmitting obscene materials in an electronic form and criminal intimidation by way of anonymous communication. So you can reach out to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Use a dedicated communication channel. The perpetrator of such heinous acts could also be blocked by the victim on the website and applications where the bullying took place. And then the second and the last one is talk to someone. Whatever the case may be, one area where you can actually prevent yourself from running to psychosis is when you speak out. And that is my own major message. Talk to someone, reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member that you can trust, reach out to a professional if it's going, if it's going somewhere else, reach out to a professional counselor, a mental health advocate. Talk to them and let them give you emotional support and encouragement to live your life with dignity and strength. I tell most people, I say, look, you might have fumbled in some area, but yeah, that's not the end of the course. You can get back with strength. You can bounce back. So reach out to someone. You could seek counselor or therapy to improve your mental well-being and coping mechanisms. One area that a lot of people are actually crashing is because we don't seek help. We don't speak out. And thank God for where we are today. Mental health is gradually becoming popular and known. And a lot of people are seeking scope. Not like before when it is like a stigma. The stigma though is still there, the discrimination is there. But yet we are getting liberated. So speak out. The awareness we create in our foundation is such that we want to make this broadcast, we want to make it known. Mental health must be seen like a physical health. If I have cancer, I can go to the hospital and tell it I have cancer. If I have stomach pain, I can tell anyone. So mental issues should be taken seriously like a physical health, because as a matter of fact, it affects the physical. It affects the physical. A lot of people in the hospital today that are taking drugs, taking medicine, they are treating malaria and all that. The underlying factors are mental issues, which we need to deal with at the earliest stage so that it doesn't spring up to another level. So speak out and get help. In conclusion, be mindful of your mental well-being. Do not be afraid to seek all possible resources in case you experience cyberbullying. And above all, watch what you post. It's not everything you put on the Facebook, on the social media. Watch what you post. Be discreet about some details of yourself as a girl child, because cyberbullying, they use this against a girl child. Thank you so much. Any questions? Any question, contribution? Can we speak out?
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Ambassador David. Wow, 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 wow.
Thank you so much.
This is presentation. It's a loaded one. Yeah, it's mental health of everyone is very important. You know, without one checking on the health, it could lead to depression, it could lead to death, you know, and so it's very important that we look out for, we check our health, you know. It's very important to check our health, you know what's happening, so we can be able to deal with it on time before it gets to a critical level that we won't be able, you know, to handle it anymore. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the presentation. So I don't know if there are any questions before we end the session today.
Okay, any contribution? Anything to say as before we call it a day? Any contribution? Debbie, any contribution from you? Rebecca?
No, it was well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. In the absence of no question, yes, let's call it a day. We're going to send the presentation to all participants, the PowerPoint to all participants, and then the video as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this one-day girl child virtual conference. We hope we all will go back to our various country, you know, and see how we can help the girl child. It's important we help the girl child. You know, this conference just for we adults, is for both everyone. So let's go there, be a voice to the girl child, be a voice to the younger generation, and then see how we can keep making impact. Thank you so much, everyone, and do have a nice time.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Ambassador
Bye.
Lioma. Thank you so much. God bless you, everyone. Good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.